going on, everybody? It's your boy Danny the Bull with another live stream, and it's another day, another all-time high for Bitcoin, hitting $123,000. Absolutely wild. Highest weekly close last night, I think at around 119,000, and it crept up over 120,000 after the close. Super strong finish to last week, which indicates that the trend is up and the trend is your friend. So looks like more upside for Bitcoin this week, and the move is not yet over, and should bode well for alts. Like I said in last stream, it looks like we've turned the tide a little bit, but we'll see how it plays out. Big week for crypto this week. They're calling it Crypto Week. We'll talk about it. Let's see who we got up in here. B-Dubs in the house. How you doing, brother? Currently sitting at 119.7 on Bitcoin, so a little bit of a dip. But it's amazing that earlier in the year when we hit $100,000, it was such a magical moment and such a milestone for Bitcoin. And now, a sub 100K Bitcoin would be super bearish. It's amazing how, 100K has been normalized. And here we are at $120,000 with still plenty of room to go in this cycle. So we topped out yesterday or this morning at 122. Ethereum looking strong, was over 3K before this little dip. 30.66 we hit earlier this morning. XRP had topped $3, right? It finally cleared. I think 282 was an area of resistance. Topped $3. So things are moving in the right direction. I would expect some more upside for Bitcoin this week as we progress. And, narrative follows price. So now that the price is up, we're going to hear all these, positive narratives that have been in existence this year, but weren't moving the market in the last few months, right? And so this week you've got, where is it? I gotta get a hold of my tabs. This week, here it is Crypto Week, and you're going to be hearing a lot about this. This is the reason why, these are the reasons why Bitcoin is topping 120,000. Right, narrative follows price. You've got the Clarity Act this week, which is really important for the whole space. It's going to provide some clarity, right? Like, as the name, very witty name. Clarity Act, right? It's basically going to talk about and set precedents for oversight, right? Who's overseeing crypto markets? The SEC, the commodities group, right? So who oversees crypto and sets boundaries and that sort of thing, right? Who's in control? Gensler was trying to take ownership of the space. This will provide some clarity. The Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act, which looks to enforce a law that the Federal Reserve can't just create their own CBDC, and the government cannot create their own stable coin, which is troublesome for various reasons, right? And then the Genius Act, which we've talked about, which sets precedent for stablecoin and will create regulation around stable coins to basically make the United States the leader in that as it becomes the financial rail system for the whole worldwide financial system. So trillions of dollars will be onboarded into crypto over the next 5-10 years through the stablecoin regulation, and that stuff is going to find its way onto chains like Ethereum, right? So super bullish for ETH and for big ecosystems. That's what's going on this week. Pat McBride in the house. What's going on, brother? IMS, what's going on? Cash Games, what's going on? What do you think? Will we see extended bull cycle or not? I don't. I think many will call for an extended bull cycle. I think they do this every cycle. Last cycle, even Benjamin Cohen, who this cycle has been droning on about Bitcoin dominance. And even this cycle, Benjamin Cohen was talking about a left translate. Maybe we'll have a left translated cycle, right? Which means maybe Bitcoin, because it broke all-time highs before the halving, maybe we need to move the end of the cycle up, and it's a left translated cycle, and it's sort of the best days are kind of behind us. So my point is, he was talking about last cycle, the super cycle, and breaking the 4-year cycle. I think people are going to call for it again, a super cycle. I think we top I want to say November, December of this year. I could see us going into early 2026, but I think we're at that time in the market where things move fast, and it's typically that coincides with the end of a bull run, right? Whether it's a stock market, whether it's a crypto market, when you get to that point where everything starts going crazy, that's when it's getting overheated. So right now, I think we're just moving into that last phase of the cycle. But yeah, I think I can see. Let me pull up the Bitcoin chart. I can see us, getting into the 130K area on Bitcoin in the next, couple weeks or so, maybe, cooling off and then going for one final push end of the year. And historically, that's kind of how it's worked. Here's a chart by this altcoin. This is total market cap. Let me see, right? Or others. This is excluding top 10. This is the others chart. So it's the altcoin market cap made by Rect Capital. They do a good job. And you can see last cycle. This is last cycle, 2021. This is kind of what we expected earlier, right? Was just move up. You see these big green candles here. That was in early 2021, heading into May, which is what we expected to get this cycle heading into, in 2025 in the first half. Instead, we got this weaker move right over here, right? We got a big move. Actually, this is it here. Sorry. We got it in November, December, and it was super quick. And we got those big red candles down, right? So we didn't have a big sustained push. And then what happened last cycle was the market bled. It peaked into May and then bled into July. And then from July through the end of the year, it was basically a nice alt season run. All right. And so we're at this point here where hopefully we found a bottom, and we're in July again. So these first few bars are possibly the beginning of this nice run up for an alt season, but it happens fast and furiously. My expectation would be that if it happens again, which I expected to, that the party will be over by fourth quarter. And I said last stream, I think we're going to get this continued run up with Bitcoin running. I think alts are going to start to heat up. Maybe we'll get like a little cool off period, and then I think the Fed's going to cut rates in the fall, and that will be an impetus for the market to go absolutely crazy, right? If we get a couple of rate cuts, specifically that first one that then signals more in the future. If you look at the history, there we go. No. I'm looking at the wrong thing. So in basically when the market started to run and we had, got to get my tabs right. We had this alt season right here, this brief period of alt season at the end of 2024. Was fueled by Trump coming into office and getting elected and all that, but it was also fueled by 2 rate cuts, right? There was one, I want to say in October, one in December, but then at that December meeting, Jerome Powell was hawkish, right, and signaled an end or pause. And then, of course, in April, the market got really scared because of the tariffs and whatnot. But I think that the rate cuts will finally unleash, a full-on bull run on risk assets, and that's not going to happen until, I would say, September at earliest. So we have July 30th is now down to less than 5% chance of a rate cut. CPI data is coming in tomorrow, which will be interesting. Market could run. I think the market might be on pause right now with a little pullback. But CPI data is coming in tomorrow. And if it's better than expected, then I think we'll see Bitcoin and the market start to react favorably. But it's really, September is the first opportunity. And that's September 17th. There's a 60% chance of a rate cut then. October, right? So I think that once this stuff happens, now you're talking about, balls to the wall. That signals that it's risk on for markets. And that's when I think we'll get the euphoria stage. But we'll see how it plays out. What's going on, brother? Is this the first step? I think it is, man. I think the clock is ticking, man. 6 months is a long time in crypto, right? But in hindsight, it'll go by. But we're getting closer to the end of this cycle, right? And that's, when the fireworks typically happen. But also it's a reminder to take profits, right? Make sure that you create your strategy for profit taking, because if you don't take your profits, the market will take it for you. And we talked about last stream how the biggest moves happen in the shortest period of time, right? So we're talking 4 weeks, 8 weeks. The majority of the move is made. And you don't want to be left holding a bag. So Joss in the house. What's good, brother? I think gaming narrative will explode because no one is talking about it. Only RWA, AI, and DeFi. Yeah, I think that gaming, I don't know about exploding, but I think it'll do well. RWA, AI, to me, are the biggest narratives this cycle, but literally everyone I know in the space is also tuned into gaming. Either holds at least one gaming play, right? And so what that tells me is that when AI and RWA stuff gets overheated and overbought, people are going to look into rotate the things that are cheap. And I think that gaming still has mind share this cycle. Everyone here, mostly everyone here has Metacade, things like that. But people were buying up, games for a living, Naka, last year. And so I think that it still has mind share, and I still think that gaming will do well. But I think the others will run first and harder. Frank the Tank in the house. Let's go, brother. Do you think cycles will even apply to Devi? I see it's still setting all-time highs 1 to 2, 3 years from now. Would be nice to keep dumping some of my alt profits into more Devi. So I do think that the market cycles will apply to Devi. And that's because I think that there are some things, as crypto evolves and things have real utility, right? There'll always be a use case for them. But look at like Ethereum has the most utility of any crypto, right? In terms of it being the biggest layer one and everything built on it, people needing to transact, to hold it, to transact and things like that. And it gets, crippled in a bear market because the prices get exponentially like higher, right? I mean, if Devi were to explode this cycle, I would absolutely expect it to get wrecked on the way down. Maybe it doesn't go down the full, 97% that most altcoins do in a bear, but I wouldn't bet against that if you're looking at history, right? But we'll also have to see what Devi looks like when the exchange comes out, how much, in terms of how the utility is playing a part. Base Labs in the house. Let's go, brother. Russ G in the house. Smash the likes. Everyone does deserve it, man. If you've held for this cycle and if you were here from the beginning, and I think that's part of it, is the reason why it's been so tough is because many of us tried to front run alts, right? And load up prior to alt season, and more people than ever, I think, loaded up on alts. And it's been a very tricky cycle. We had the best part of this cycle was 2 years ago, or was it that far back, or was it it blurs now. I think like a year and a half. Yeah, so November 2023. This was the best part of this cycle. Was October, November is when it really started to heat up, and this is when gaming got hot. And the market stayed hot from really October through March of 2024. So that was a good 4 months of the market being super hot. And that was great, right? But the problem was it was so early, right? It was before the halving. People thought maybe this time is different, even myself included, because Bitcoin, we're in uncharted territories with the ETFs, because Bitcoin hit new all-time high before the halving. We had this, beautiful run on alts where a lot of things were doing 100x. And it's easy to forget how fast things move in this space, right? As fast as things go down and plummet, right, where a lot of bags went down 80, 90%, they'll go up 50x in a short amount of time with the right conditions. And that's what was happening at this time here. I remember, I think it was Miria went to $150 million market cap. I think that was off the back of Alex Becker talking about it. And gaming got super hot. Playable games went from a sub $1 million market cap to a $100 million market cap. Naka went to, I want to say 100 and low hundreds, moved a lot, right? And then you had AI starting to move after that. That was in like January of 2024 when AI really started to gain some ground. So it's easy to forget how fast things move. And that's why it's important not to get shaken out. You have to be able to withstand. If this is your thing, right, and you've got to be able to take the risk that comes along with it. But if this is your thing and you can withstand the volatility, you can't win in this space if you can't withstand the volatility. So when it gets volatile to the upside, that's what we really love. Yeah, the liquidity staking on Aerodrome, 160% APR. I'm assuming that's going to go down when, let's pull that up. That was on my list of things. This was announced today. Metacade's announcing stuff like every day. Here we go. So Metacade's partnered with Aerodrome, which is a DEX on Base. where you can now add liquidity to the Mcade USDC pool and earn up to 161% APR. Liquidity providers earn Aero emissions. Voters earn a share of Mcade incentives plus weekly fees. Deposit and stake liquidity. Become a voter, max your rewards. Simple. So I haven't looked into it, but that's a crazy APR. I don't know how long you would have to lock it up for. And I only ever lock things up if it's for a short period of time. But yeah, Mcade's always making moves. Tomorrow they've got a podcast coming out with Neo Tokyo, Alex Becker and Elio Trades. That's their kind of organization for gaming projects. So Metacade, I remember a time where it's like, will they join Neo Tokyo? Will they get in? You know, they've gotten in. They're going to be on the podcast. It'd be dope if Alex Becker were to tweet something about them. It would send it. Yeah, the number is going to come down as more and more people provide liquidity. Yeah, Frank says it's a great point. We loaded up and got faked out with that mini alt run. Yeah. And it's not an easy game to play, man. It's been very complicated. Do you think it's better to sell Metacade on Uniswap or move tokens to Aerodrome to sell? Anyone know? I'm not sure what has more liquidity. My biggest RWA play is I got two, and they are Devi, which is like a layer one, but they're a layer one for institutions for to tokenize real world assets. Basically, they're building blockchains for institutions. So they partnered with a bank in France. They supposedly have a deal, though they didn't say it, but the rumor is they have a partnership with NASDAQ for their own dev exchange that's coming out, and they're going to tokenize, you'll be able to tokenize real world assets on there, things like that. So Devi is my biggest RWA play. My second biggest is Relio Network, Rio, which I've talked about a lot. I got into this at 11 cents. This came out in 2021 at the end of last cycle. Went to $4. It went down to a penny. It went down all the way down to a penny in the bear market. And went back to $3 this cycle when everything was running. Started buying at 11 cents. I've been accumulating mostly between 25 and 35 cents. So those are my two big RWA plays. I have Mint Layer. I might follow Frank the Tank over here and get into LBM, but I'm gonna wait a little. I mean, I have pretty good RWA bags, but if I get an entry on LBM, the market cap's super small. I think this might be wrong. I think it's $2.5 million market cap. Coin market caps are a little off sometimes. But this has been on a run. But I might join Frank there. Huge institutional money and short-term price manipulators make predicting cycles so hard now. It's really hard. And the altcoins are so volatile, right? So it's really hard to navigate a full cycle. I think the key is take your profits, build out your positions, take your profits, and rinse, repeat. You know, I was talking to Ron on the phone earlier today. I see Ron in here. Ron, I DM'd you. If you want to jump on stream, I'll shoot you the link if you're around. But I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, my biggest issue has been trying to hit home runs, right? Um, it's like that meme where like, something's gone up a certain amount of X's and then you say it could go up 10X more. So taking profits is controlling greed first and foremost, right? And taking profits on the way up, I think is pivotal to succeeding. So I'm still trying to get better. All right, give me 1 second. Yeah. Frank says, Mcade, I'm really interested in your Drop Zone NFT project. I think that is going to be a sleeper hit for them. Yeah, they minted out 11,000 of them. They got the gaming passes, or they have the Mcade pass. They're going to be big tournaments. I'm interested also to see how they leverage NFT technology, right? Because a lot of people drop NFTs and then they're kind of like nothing burgers. It's going to be interesting to see. It's not easy to maintain ongoing utility and interest for an NFT. They've got, I forget how many projects, like 60 projects partnered with them. Cornucopias, which is a big one, and some other gaming projects. Their prize pools, I think, are going to be a big thing. I think the tournaments are going to gain some attention when they have some pretty big prize pools in there. And those will be gated by the NFTs also, right? Some of those, I think that's what Russ said, to get in. So when you get a big prize pool for a tournament, you can garner attention online, right? I think Gangs of Metacadia had something like $10,000 in the prize pool. Now think about how crazy it can get if you're in peak bull run and you start a game that lasts 3 weeks. And I think the game lasts 2 or 3 weeks, social strategy game. If it lasts 2 or 3 weeks and when you start the prize pool is $10,000 and then 2 weeks later the prize pool is $30,000 to $40,000. Right? So it's a good way to garner attention and just grow your user base. So pretty dope. If Devi has NASDAQ, it will absolutely send. Yeah, absolutely. And when I talked to Austin, who is the Devi, like their spokesperson, I guess, their socials guy, he hosts their streams and does their interviews with their founders. I had him on the channel in January, I think, and the deal was already signed. And he said, it's someone that everyone will. It's like sitting down with Trump at the table with Trump, and everyone knows. Like it's instant credibility in terms of like how many people know this partner. Speculation has been NASDAQ. I think it would send also. And if you look at something like Hyperliquid, which is trading project, it's a $15 billion market cap. Right? The blockchain to house all finance. If Devi, so this is at $15 billion, and a lot of people are using Hyper now. But if Dev Exchange is successful, they're partnered with NASDAQ, and in this crypto cycle where tokenization and institutionalized crypto is one of the two major narratives. That's why I bought Devi, is because it's got that potential to, even if it went to a third of that market cap, it's like $50. And I'm not saying it will, right? But I'm just placing my bets on things that could get to billion-dollar valuations. It's currently at a $40 million, and people are getting frustrated right now. All right. If you go into the Telegram, people are getting frustrated because they're sensing the market starting to move, but there's still no announcement. And the price is, people are fatigued, right? And the price is at 44 cents. So we'll see. The roadmap is supposed to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. They need to get that announcement done before the cycle end. I agree, Frank. And if it does, be amazing. Yo, when you think memes and Chuck run again, it's gonna be a Chuck to a buck, baby. Let's pull it up. Chuck's been strong over the last 3 months. Here we go. This is Chuck over the last 3 months. So the market dropped, went down. So since May, Chuck has looked strong. Launched at a $200,000 market cap. And it was flat when it first came out. Here we go. So these are like, go all the way back. If you remember back in the early days of Chuck, which was just a year ago, launched at a $200,000 market cap. I think it topped $1 million or so on the first day. Then it kind of bled down and sideways and was boring for a few weeks. And then it went on a 6-week run that got it to a $32 million market cap. So it did 150x from the bottom. And then of course, we know like the huge sell-off, down, bled out, horrible sideways, horrible like downtrend. But over the last 3 months, solid recovery here. So I think memes are going to continue to perform this cycle. And I think, Chuck has a great community. We'll see. There's no telling if it gets back to all-time highs. But team is solid. 30 million tokens burnt today. Let's pull it up. I, of course, help run the socials. 30 million Chuck tokens got burnt today, bringing a total of almost 100 million tokens. So just over 9% of the supply has been burnt. So the Chuck community is not going to stop. Does it get back to all-time highs? Time's going to tell, man. It'll be fun to find out. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I've been buying still. Even though I always say that my bags are full, they're never quite full, Dino. They're never quite full. So what I've bought over the last few weeks, I'll tell you. I've bought, and I said it last stream, Root, which is Root Network, which is part of Futureverse, which is it's really impressive ecosystem that they're developing. Token was absolutely murdered. I was watching it back when gaming was hot and when things were hot. I was watching Root, and it was at 100 million. I think it blew past $100 million market cap, and it was interesting to me, but I had missed it. And then I saw the sell-off was huge. I want to say it got under $10 million market cap. For what they're building, under a $10 million market cap is ridiculous. So I aped the bag, and I accumulated over the last 7 days. It's been up nice. Bottomed out at 003. So it's up a nice 30% since that. Futureverse is really impressive, right? They're building an open metaverse with, AAA game capabilities, characters, avatars that you can create, NFTs that they partnered with Fluff World. So let's say they partnered with Bored Ape Yacht Club, and you own an ape. You can take that ape, and if there's a partnership there with Futureverse, you could take that ape and make him a playable character across the ecosystem. So it's really kind of the metaverse and what like the future of gaming was supposed to be, right? They're building it. Readyverse is building on there. That is the creator of the author of Ready Player One created Readyverse. right, is working with Readyverse. Keanu Reeves is an advisor. So right, that's part of the ecosystem. Another thing that I bought is Asto, which is going to merge and become Think Token. And that's also a part of the Futureverse ecosystem. I've talked about Asto on here. Let's pull up Think. So Think agents are basically AI agents that people can own, right? As NFTs, you can purchase your own Think agent, and it'll be yours within the Futureverse ecosystem, or even outside of it. I think they have a partnership with Ape Chain also, and some others. So it's an AI agent play. Great technology. This is going to be launching soon. It's not launched yet. Think Token's not launched yet. They're already going to be on KuCoin. They have a partnership with KuCoin. If you own Asto, then it's going to merge with ThinkCoin. All right. So I've been buying Asto, and Asto is pretty cheap. And that's altered state token. It's at a $5 million market cap or something. Here we go. Right. It sold off hard. This went up to, this is during the peak AI agent run. It went hard. It went really hard. Right. It's got great technology, real technology. This isn't like smoke and mirrors. I've been loading up on this because it's going to migrate to Think. So it's my way to get into Think Token before the Think launch. Right, because new tokens, specifically in a hot sector, could really send. So it's like a backdoor into Think. You'd have to swap them. So I bought that. I bought Root and I bought Hash AI, which has been doing well, and XMW Morphware. LBM still only 2.5 million. 9 is FTV. Yeah. When you're ready to cash out, will it be through one exchange in particular or multiple ones? So I've thought about this, and I think I'm going to hold a lot in stables. I think I'm going to cash out, hold a lot in stables, and sit on it, and look to circle back into Bitcoin. But the only option for me to cash out, being where I live, is Coinbase. So I'll be cashing out through Coinbase. But depending on how big my bag is, I think I'd leave a lot of it in stables, and then maybe cash out over time and cycle back to Bitcoin. MLC is today's going hard. Let's pull it up, brother. My lovely planet. I know you've been talking about it. Nice. It was up 40%, I think, today. Well, here we go. Nice. 40%. Good shit. Is this because of Becker? Right? Wasn't he talking about it? Good stuff on My Lovely Planet. When you're ready to cash out, will you primarily use? Oh yeah. Awesome. I don't know Echelon Prime. Ondo is a killer this cycle, man. Ondo has big money behind it. It's got like Trump money behind it. Big people behind the scenes. The Trumps, I think Eric Trump owns, and their Trump Liberty Financial own Ondo. Ondo, I want to say, was like a sponsor of that crypto ball that Trump hosted. $3 billion market cap. Been a big winner. It'll continue to win. Winners keep winning, right? So Ondo is going to continue to win. It'll be interesting to see how high it goes. All-time high of $2. It's only about 50% away. So the only question is, how big is this alt season, right? Do we get the balls to the wall alt season from last cycle? I hope so. Because if we do, you're going to see some big numbers. Yeah, I've looked at Definity a couple times. I never bought it, but offhand I don't remember. I don't remember too much, but I did look into it a couple times. Penguin, yes, bullish for Devi. Josh, Chuck to $1. Yeah, Coinbase. So this could be big for base projects. Could be big for Metacade. The new Coinbase app is coming out, and it's going to be basically like a feed inside of it, like a social feed, an app feed. So people will be able to, it'll be like, I know that when I talked to Russ live, he talked about, having mini apps featured in there. So I'm assuming Medicaid's going to is definitely working on that. And so, you'll have like mint games built into it, game apps. And it could be big for base projects that get spotlighted. And it's a good way to capture attention, right? Because Coinbase obviously is the biggest platform, especially in the US. I mean, Binance, bigger worldwide, I think. But in terms of like the US, it's Coinbase. So it's going to be ready in the next week, or I want to say, or so, week to two. I know Jesse Pollock's been teasing it. So that should be interesting. Yeah, Banker is dope. I know a lot of people have been using Banker, and the chart looks really good. Where did I try to look this up last time and I couldn't find it? Isn't it Banker Coin? Here it is. The chart looks really good. This is the 3-month. We don't find too many 3-month charts. This is the yearly chart. You don't find too many, small $35 million market cap project that is held up and just continued to move over the last few months. So this launched end of December or in beginning of December, and it's been very solid. And it's got the real use case. A lot of people use it on my Twitter feed. Basically set up, give it instructions to send crypto and set up trades for yourself. And it's a bot, AI bot that handles all of it. So Banker looks good. Yeah, holds really nice. I don't hold other memes outside of Chuck. But there are, if there are there's good stuff out there, man. The problem with memes is I wouldn't ape into it's hard. You ape into new ones and then you don't know who has allocation and how much and who they've given tokens to in terms of like influencers, and you get dumped on. And there are so many that come out. So if I were to buy another meme coin, it would be something that's withstood the test of time, that has a strong community, etc. Yeah, I'm more of a utility guy, except for my homie Chuck, because I know everyone in the community. Yeah, waiting for Bitcoin dominance to drop. So let's take a look. So this is the total 3 chart, and we hit a new all-time high. $3.7 trillion, a new all-time high on the whole market, right? Which is super bullish. Also bullish is someone in the White House today said that some White House official was quoted as saying that crypto is going to a $20 trillion market cap. They're pushing it. I said before the cycle that I thought 6 to 9 trillion on the total market cap. And that's just based on progression, right? Cycle by cycle. It's 2013 cycle, $14 billion market cap, super small. Most of it in Bitcoin, $11 billion. The rest of it, you had Litecoin, XRP, and some other, some shit coins that made up the rest. But the 11 billion of it in Bitcoin, 14 billion total market cap. Next cycle, total market cap 10x to $760 billion. Half of it this time in Bitcoin, right? So went from like 90% in Bitcoin to about 50% in Bitcoin, Ethereum taking a lion's share, and then other coins in 2017. 2021 went from 760 to 3 trillion. Bitcoin taking 33% of it. Right? So here we are at 3.7 trillion, and Bitcoin is at 66% of the total market. Bitcoin dominance, 64%. So we're at a $3.7 trillion market cap. Bitcoin at 64% in terms of dominance. Last cycle at the peak, we were at 1 trillion in Bitcoin. I mean, we were at 3 trillion and Bitcoin was under 40%. Right? So we know that when Bitcoin dominance plummets, that's when alt season is triggered. Right? And here, 2021 came all the way down to a 40% from 71%. And, over the last month, it's been kind of grinding sideways down. Hasn't quite been able to top 66%. It's flirted with it a couple times. Today, it's basically flat, but it's good to see over the last week with this pump, it's down 1%. And meanwhile, Ethereum over the last week is up 5% in terms of dominance, right? So little bit of a rotation starting, and you need more of that rotation. You need dominance to fall. And then once it happens, it's game on, right? It moves fast. And we talked about it last week, how this is, where is it? Let's go to the last year. If we go back here, November of 2024, Bitcoin was at a 61% in dominance. It dropped to 55%, and the market went nuts for a short period of time. All right, that's when we had our mini alt season that lasted, 4 weeks. It wasn't long. That was only a 5% drop. Can you imagine a 20% drop in dominance? It would be absolutely nuts, right? So that's what we're waiting for, and we'll see. I think it'll happen, man. This is USDT dominance. It's currently about $250 billion sitting in stable coins. And what you want to see is those stables get deployed into the market. Right? And so we saw this is earlier in the year when times were better. It was about 3.8%. Then stablecoin dominance went all the way up to 6%. Everyone was moving to stables. Okay, that's what that means. Now it's starting to come down. And if you get back to right here, this 2.5% zone, high twos, it'll be game on. We shall see. Alt was spectacular rug pull today. Was that was Crypto Beast guy? I think I saw that, which I think he was also responsible for another launch that dumped. And what we're going to see now is everyone come out the woodworks launching meme coins and things like that. So I stay away from the 100 new launches a day, the hype and all that stuff, and just execute my plan, my strongholds. Chuck is a solid community. Yeah, I heard of DeLorean's DMC. Here we go. I did hear about this. It's pretty crazy. There's going to be a big shift in society. Everything's going to be tokenized. All stocks. You're going to see more and more. Bitcoin dominance versus total market cap at the end of the cycle helps me understand the potential, but the White House 20 trillion is insane. Yeah, I think that that is an insane number, $20 trillion. I think 9-10 trillion is doable. And, you know, if you get 9 to 10 trillion, which again, you know, I talked about this for the last couple of years. I made this over before the cycle, projecting out. Last cycle, about 135 projects reached a $1 billion market cap. That's not to say that they were all there on one day, but approximately 135 hit that valuation. Today, there are less than 100 at $1 billion. All right, so, and the market cap is 3.7 trillion. So I think, and that's because Bitcoin's at 66, has 66% of market share, right? So once that dominance falls, I can see that, you know, 3xing in terms of $1 billion projects. And that means that, you know, projects are going to 10x, 20x, 50x, etc. It'll be a lot of fun. Any interest in putting some of your profits into Devies? Sounds like they are trying to create a safe place for you to lend, invest, and borrow against your crypto. Yeah, it's something that once they're up and running, and I, you know, get a feel for what Dev Exchange looks like, I would consider. You know, I would definitely try to earn a yield in a safe way on my money, right? You don't want your money sitting idle. If you know, if it works out and end up with a good bag, you want to earn yield on it. Have your money make some money while you're waiting to deploy again, because all good things come to a pause or an end, and that's not just this market, right? The stock market has been on an uptrend since 2022. And really, there was a pause there for 2 years, but really since 2008, the stock market's been ripping, right? With a bear market, you had the COVID interruption, and then you had, you know, after that bubble, the COVID bubble, you had some pain in the market. But really, since 2022, again, the market's been ripping. It's not going to last forever, right? There's going to be another cool-off period. NVIDIA's at a $4 trillion valuation. Palantir, which I was buying at $8 and $20, is at $142, I think, last time I checked. Right? So over the course of its young life, Amazon, you know, got cut in half multiple times, 90%, 50%, 60%. So all markets get overheated and then collapse, right? That's not just, you know, crypto is just hyper volatile on the highest risk, at the highest point on the risk curve. But I would expect the stock market to take a big hit after it also goes on a long overheated run. And so I want to have cash on the side to take advantage of big pullbacks. Gold is 22 trillion. Nice. Wow. So goals, brother. Oh, I appreciate that. I mean, we could always go higher, but I guess it's important to be open to uh, all possible outcomes, right? And just have a plan, take money, take out profits along the way. You can always keep moon bags. Check the new DeLorean Alpha 5 car. It's pretty cool. So what is this DeLorean DMC token? I don't understand it though. Groundbreaking collectible experience celebrating the iconic brand's arrival into Web3. Oh, and it's on Sui blockchain. It's interesting to watch Sui, which has been super strong and a winner this cycle. Shout out to everyone who got into Sui early and was accumulated. When I started, so my father-in-law, if you follow the channel, wanted to buy crypto just as after it started to crash. We didn't get the bottom, but we got good prices on things. But the biggest bag I bought him was Sui, just because I wanted to keep him safe-ish and not go too far out on the risk curve. And Sui's been super strong. $3.83, $13 billion market cap. If it does what Solana did last cycle, it can get to 90 billion. About 16, 20 bucks. How much Devi need to get to a 1 million? Is that a $1 million market cap? That's a 50x. No, to get to $1 million. I don't know, brother. I don't know. As this market right now, I'm very optimistic in terms of my rational self tells me that it's time and we're going to send and the conditions are right. And this time is not different in terms of alts running, but at the same time, I'm cautiously optimistic and I'm not marrying, price targets. So I have ideas for where I think things could go, but I want to see what kind of alt season we get, right? How hard things start running and for how long, right? Want to make sure that our alt season isn't brief like this right here, like earlier in the year, and that it's more like the one that we had at the end of 2023. That's the one I want to see. I want to see one like we had in 2021, right? Right here, where we were up in this crazy area and then still came back for more later in the year, right? So this is the first part of it. And then we came back for more at the end of the year. So I'm optimistic, but I'm not counting. We haven't crossed the finish line. We can't celebrate before the end zone. I think that we'll get there, but until it happens, it hasn't happened. See what else you guys got. If you have anything else in the chat, let me know. But another interesting. This is a good post by Jason Pizzino, who does good work. He says, this is what all the fuss is on altcoins, right? We barely moved up. Can you imagine what the timeline will be if we get a run that's, half as big as 2021, right? So we're just getting started here. And I think the trend is in our favor, though. We got Bitcoin is showing that it's not going to stop at $120,000, right? It wants more. Ethereum wants higher, back up over 3,000 now. So remember when it was so hard to get past $2,800 on Ethereum? All right, now we're shooting for 3,300 and then 3,500. All right, that's more of a signal that we're getting more risk on, and our alts will run. Yeah, Rio. Man, I think Rio, I love Rio. I really like. Cash, do you own Rio? I think this is at a $20 million market cap. Not, that's wrong. Coin market cap is always, whoops. $20 million market cap on Rio. I've always thought that this could get to $1 billion. We'll see. All-time high of $4, which is a 20x, right? 10x, 20x from here, which is at a 400. So $400 million market cap at all-time high. This is the cycle for RWAs, man. Rio has such a strong online community. Nice. He bought it at 13 cents. Yeah, Rio has such a strong online community, and I love that it bounces back, right? So, it takes its dips. It went down with the market, but when the market recovers, Rio bounces back. So there's demand for it. I would love to see a $10 Rio, but we'll see what kind of alt run we get. Predicting Devi at $500 at some point in the next 4 years. It sounds outlandish, but it's possible. $5 billion market cap is $50. So that's a $50 billion market cap. They'd have to be super successful with, Dev Exchange would have to be successful, right? And gain traction, have a lot of users, that sort of thing. But they've got a great team and they're building real tech that no one else has. So it sounds crazy, but it could happen. Does near any change this run? Josh, can you reword that? Near was doing well. Let's see. I haven't checked in on it in a while. $3 billion market cap. It's number 34, up almost 20%. I held near last cycle. Went to $17. I think there's a lot of AI stuff happening on near. Went back to $8. Couldn't quite get above it. We'll see what the right of this chart looks like, but near is a solid big cap, I think. What's interesting about charts is you can't see what's to the right of them, right? So if you look at Sandbox last cycle, in late 2020, it was 3 cents. It went to 70 cents. So it did a 40x or so, 50x. From 3 cents to 80 something cents, whatever that is, right? It had a huge move up and then it came down 70% into June of 2021. So if you sat here, if you bought on the way up here, at 70 cents, 80 cents, 60 cents, and it went down to 17 cents, you felt like shit. Right? You felt like you lost. You made the wrong bet. But then we had that crazy alt season, right? And that straight parabolic line up for the metaverse stuff. Went to $7. And my point is, right now we can only see our charts up to here. And we don't know what's to the right. So, we bought things that, some of us I got in super early on Rio. I'm still up on it. All right. Some things I'm still up on that I've done well on. Devi, I'm still up on. I bought a lot of it between 14 cents and 35 cents. Right. But if you bought Devi at $1 or more, or if you bought anything, I was talking to someone who bought Metacade at 3 cents. Right. And he's frustrated. It's down 66%, but we can't see the right of the chart. And so the expectation all along has been that at the end of this cycle, there would be a crazy alt run, right? And it's been a super choppy, difficult cycle to navigate. Liquidity's been tight. There's been a ton of volatility. You take the most volatile asset class and you put the most volatile president in charge, and, and those tariffs around and things like that. And it's been difficult, right? But we can't see the right of the chart. And if it's like it was in 2021, in 2017, then, if you're in good stuff in the right sectors, could produce some big gains. But the games have to be played, right? But I like to study those old charts, particularly when, you're at this point in the cycle. Right? When, things dumped off and you feel like you ate a shit sandwich. Right? But now we're starting to heat up again. And this is July 2021 when Sandbox started moving again. And it was slowly, nice moves, and then all at once. And things peaked at different times last cycle. So, but if you look at any of the coins that sent, it was, slowly, then all at once. And this is Gala Games, which Gala went to, 3 cents and dropped all the way down to half a penny. So think about, to put it in perspective, it went from 0.001 to 3 cents. It's a huge move. That's like a 30x move. All right. Similar to some of our stuff that we've gotten into that did like 30, 40x moves. And then Gala dumped to less than a penny. So it went down. What's that math? It went down a lot. That's the math, right? It went down a lot. And this was July 2021. All right. Then slowly started to move up. Big move up, came down, cool off, right? So it went up into September. September is typically things come down, cool off, and then all at once, right? Huge gainer for Gala Games last cycle. So right now, if we're in things like, I'm just going to randomly pick like Hash AI. And, we've had this big move up, which did, so I want to say that's like 100x. I'm not even sure. But anyway, it came down, 90% or whatever. Now, does it blow past here, its previous all-time high? Do we get that run that we had like last cycle, like, 2017? The game's got to be played. but you got to have perspective, understand that we can't see the right of the chart. It's been a really difficult cycle. And I think this game, this space can mind fuck you, right? It's not easy. And you have to be willing to lose in order to win, because you could, things go down 90, some things go down 100%, right? If they're rug, if you're into super, super high risk stuff. So you have to be of that mindset to be able to withstand the volatility, because the same volatility that drives the price down will drive the price up. And that's a lot more fun. Yes. Let's see what happens, man. First token claim just went live for Astra holders. Yeah. Astra's a good one. Little thin on the liquidity side. I had sold it. I bought it back. I got this super early. Ron put it out on Telegram. Made good gains on it. Sold. And then a mistake that I made this cycle was over-rotating a bit, right? I over-rotated. I held my really high conviction stuff, but I jumped around a little bit on stuff, and most of that jumping led me to trouble. But Astra, $13 million market cap. They've got a good reward system. They have a ton of partnerships, and Alex Becker has tweeted about them twice now, or at least mentioned them or responded saying that he likes them. So it could send hard. They haven't stopped, which you like to see. And they do buybacks and things like that. Which are the 100x tokens? From this point, man, it's hard to say, man. The ones that I've talked about most are the ones that I have I'm holding with strong conviction. So that'd be, I think, Devi has that chance. I think Rio from here, 100x. Could it go to $20? I think it's possible. Yeah. I don't know. I need to, Metacade. Do I think Metacade can 100x from here? It's at, what, 18 million? I think that would put it at 1.8 billion. I think it's possible. But if it was easy to pick 100xers from here, everyone would do it. I like Medicaid's chances to at least get, 20 cents or so, with the possibility of hitting, those big, getting to $1 billion. I think it's possible that this team can guide it there. It would be dope. It'd be great. And the thing is, my strategy is I've got about, 10 to 15 at any given time, like up to 15 coins. And you don't need them all to do 100x's. Nice. Yeah, I mean, if you've been sitting on XRP since before the SEC lawsuit, I used to laugh at XRP because it's kind of like a boomer coin, and XRP holders are kind of like known to be bag holders. Broke $3 today. Will it go into price discovery and break all-time highs this cycle? I think it will. I think it does. They just applied for a banking license. So I also wouldn't be shocked to see Ripple like IPO, right? That's like the next big phase. Circle IPO'd. There've been rumors that like Ripple will IPO, get on the stock exchange. But I'm happy for XRP holders. One of the first things that people by newcomers, whenever there's someone new coming into crypto that I know, one of the first things they ask about is XRP. This is what they know. People think that retail is coming for their bags, right? Retail's not buying our small bags. Retail's buying stuff that has like mindshare, Doge, XRP, stuff that's mainstream, that's accessible, that they've heard about on Fox News. That's what retail is buying. And then money rotates, right? So XRP is going to continue to do well. I think I can see that $6 this cycle, which would be, doesn't sound like a lot from here. It's 100% move, but it puts it at a $350 billion market cap. That's been like my thoughts on it this cycle, which if you're holding from before the lawsuit is a clean, more than a 10x for something that's been around for, since forever in crypto years. And yeah, Stellar, I was buying XRP like before it was accessible, right? When it was really difficult to buy crypto. And I think it was super cheap. I forget the price. It was like 2016 or 17 or whatever. And I used to also hold Stellar. So it's good to see more of these legacy coins become more established, right? Because that's what crypto needs. This space has such a bad reputation and people get scared off because of, the pump fun shit and all the stuff that they see in headlines, rug pulls and scams. We need more and more legitimate projects with long-term success. So, I don't hold XLM, but I'm really happy to see it doing well this cycle. This is its third cycle. $14 billion market cap. Cash says, yep, you need 100xer. That's it, man. All you can do is, and like, what's the one? Who knows? Stupid things can send crypto tokens, right? Like in 2021, it was Mark Zuckerberg changing Facebook to Meta. That sent the whole metaverse. And you can't anticipate all of these things. When Rio went to $3 last year, is because it was in like Trump's wallet, right? And some people thought that Trump bought it, but it was sent there. So you never know what's going to send something. Ondo is going to go vertical. Let's look it up again. Yeah, Ondo is strong, man. Ondo is strong. Happy for the Ondo holders. What's good about it is we're going to start to see the ceiling on some of these new sectors, right? So we know, and when we talk about like gaming projects, we have precedents. Like Gala went to 4 billion last cycle. Sandbox went to like 8 billion, I think, for Metaverse, and Axie went. I think Axie might have hit 20 or something, but that one totally viral. But we're going to see like how high can AI projects go? How high can RWA plays go? And then if Ondo gets to a 15, $20 billion market cap, then where do things like Rio, LBM end up? Because now people are measuring them relative to some of the bigger ones. So it's another interesting thing to keep an eye on, even if you're not in, something like Ondo that's already, done well, like Virtuals is already at. Virtuals is going to continue to send and do well. And it's at a $1 billion market cap, all right? All-time high of about 5 billion. How high does Virtuals go? And then what does that mean for other AI projects, right? So I keep tabs on the bigger ones in the space to kind of view things in relative terms. I don't know Zbeck. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up on here. Zbeck. Here it is, Zbeck Network. It's a 300 million. Had a nice run. Had a nice run up. Chart looks good. It's on Solana, I guess. Chart looks good. Decentralized finance. I'll check it out. And that's, there's so many coins. Like, I haven't even heard of Zbeck, right? And it's gone from, and I'm pretty deep into like crypto. And it's a $300 million project. There's a lot of stuff out there, man. Mcade 50X, Chuck 50X is also, yeah, I mean, it could happen. For Chuck to 50X from here, or yeah, like $850,000 market cap, bring it to about a 40 million, just above all-time highs, went to 32 million. ADA, $4. Man, ADA's been, it's been rough. I'm going to say I held a lot of ADA last cycle. And I even bought during the bear at like, pretty low, 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents, but it's only up. I mean, if you look at it like relative to like, Solana obviously was very oversold, but Solana went from $8, it's back up to 160. It's not performed as well. The problem with Cardano is that they're not, people aren't using it. And Charles, I think the thing that it has going for it is that Charles Hoskinson has such a big presence in the space, and he can, I think, create excitement. I know he recently, in the last 6 months, talked about them getting into like Bitcoin DeFi and stuff like that. He also talked about selling a bunch of ADA to bring stable coins onto the ecosystem because they need like liquidity over there. So I think like he is an asset for them in a way, because a lot of people hate him, but he knows how to get attention. I don't think it'll go much more higher than, if it breaks all-time highs, I think it goes just like around all-time highs, maybe $3, maybe $4. I think it might look similar to a like XRP did last cycle, where XRP didn't come close because of the SEC, but maybe, what was it? Maybe I'm thinking of Stellar. Yeah, I'm thinking of like Stellar, where it went past all-time highs last cycle, but barely, right? It didn't like blow it out. So I think if ADA goes past all-time highs, I used to be bullish and think that, a $10 ADA was, could be in the works. But looking at the development, Sui has blown past it in terms of, you see projects coming out on Sui, you see it's on the crypto Twitter. They got meme coins on there, Lofi, and a whole bunch of other things. So yeah, I'm not very bullish on ADA. Yeah, Kaspa had such a huge run. It was such an early winner this cycle, and it's just been sleeping, but it's been solid. And Kaspa is something that can get to a very high market cap. So, if someone was buying like big caps that still have like potential for growth, Caspa could make another explosive run. You know, it's been going sideways for quite some time. And so once it gets going, so it's one of those more like safe-ish, bigger market cap projects that still has room to run in a really hot market. Got 51 people in here. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Charlie, yeah, I'll pull up Echelon. Echelon Prime. $90 million market cap. So all-time high back when things were, well, hit all-time high back in pre-halving run-up, when that pre-halving alt season went to $27, which is 10x from here. So it went to almost $1 billion market cap. Chart doesn't look great. I mean, chart doesn't look great, but a lot of charts don't look great right now. Let's see, on the month, it's grinding sideways. Still at a $90 million market cap. 7 days, starting to show some life now, right? So I don't know enough about it. Let's pull it up. Powering parallel TCG and beyond with Prime. Echelon is a platform that enables games to leverage blockchain features. We are advancing Web3 gaming with frictionless and compelling Prime token utility that enhances game experiences. Got it. So that explains why it ran so hot. Ran so hot here when gaming was hot. Yeah, I mean, chart doesn't look great right now, but it's starting over the last 7 days, it looks like, to bounce back. The thing with gaming is that there are a lot of gaming projects that look very similar. This is Naka, looks the same, right? Look at Miria, looks the same. They all have the same pattern. That's not an accident. That's about attention in the space. Games for a living. Playable games, no. I clicked on the wrong thing. Where's playable? Here it is. Playable games. See, they all gaming projects look very similar. So I think it depends on how hot gaming runs, right? And we'll see how Echelon comes back. But like I said, I think it's the washout, and Rana said this, and I agree with him. There's been a washout in gaming. A lot of things have gone by the wayside. They've not survived. They've run out of runway, run out of money. It's exposed the weaker teams and the weaker projects. And the ones that are left standing, if there is another gaming run, you'll know who the winners are or who the runners are, right? So we'll see what happens on the gaming front. Tron chart has excellent recovering pattern. Yeah, easy 50% move up after breakout and then into price discovery. I noticed Tron recently. Wasn't there a rumor about? I just heard some rumor about Tron, which I don't remember. Yeah, it looks solid. It looks up and to the right over this is the last month. In the last year, I mean, had a huge spike. I forget what caused this spike, but I remember it having a nice run up. Not much overhead in terms of resistance now, right? Between this and all-time high. So yeah, I would agree that 50% move is correct, because there's nothing really in the way between 30 cents and 52 cents on Tron. Also, ACH found a nice bottom and has a nice recovery pattern. Nice rounded bottoms, potential big mover that is lower cap. Let's look it up. Is this Alchemy Pay? 124 million. Here we go. Yeah, you're seeing a bunch of coins start to recover, right? Which is a good thing. Circle is invested in CBEC. All right, Lightspeed Ventures is invested in CBEC. They invested back then in ZBEC. ZBEC announced a partnership with Uphold Exchange with strong ties to XRP. Very nice. Man, there are so many good projects that I wish you can't hold them all, but you come across all these things that, and they look so promising and have good fundamentals, but there's not enough money to spread around. Great chart. Yep. I think that ATH can easily be taken again. Yep. Do you think Trump coin making a run back at its all-time high? I haven't looked at it in a while. I've always thought that all-time high was right after launch, $45. I think it's possible. The thing is, like, he has. All right, so I feel like newbies, if it starts running again, I can see newer people like aping in. New people new to crypto who love Trump. He's so memeable. He's gonna push it, even though he really shouldn't be tweeting. He still tweets about it. So, would it shock me? Meme coins work off of, mind share and, engagement and things like that, and memeability. And, Trump's the president of the United States. He also happens to be one of the most memeable people, maybe the most memeable person, right? So it's not something I would buy, but it wouldn't shock me to see it go back. Especially, meme coins aren't going anywhere. They're annoying when so many pop up, and it sucks because they take attention away from, like, real utility coins, and a lot of people get rugged and all this, the scammy shit that goes on, especially like on Pump Fun. So, it sucks in one regard, but it's a part of the culture, right? So meme coins aren't going anywhere. And SPX is actually a really good chart. It's 1.4 billion. It's about to go, and it's at right now knocking up against all-time highs, and then it'll be in price discovery. 1.4 billion. It'll be interesting to see how high it goes. I think Pepe's at 5 billion, but we'll see. I've been on for over an hour and a half. It was a good one. I appreciated you guys in the comments. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. I'll be doing more streams over the next few weeks. I'll get some people on here. MD, I'll bring this up real quick before I go. Bet. Is that Beta Coin? Is that Beta Coin you're talking about? You got it, Frank. Which bet are you talking about, MD? I'll stay on for you, brother. Bet. Oh, SharpLink Gaming. SharkLink Gaming. I don't see it. I'll try to do it. MD, come through next one. I'll be on again soon. We'll take a look. I trade 5 to 7 charts, swing trades. Dealing with too many coins is unnecessary. If you learn the charts, yeah, I mean, now this really depends on. This is great if, like, you know, you're into trading and you're good at trading. You can read charts. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't have the skill, the patience, or the ability to trade. But there's money to be made in this market, man. Thank you, Marcus. Appreciate you. Oh, SBET. I'll pull up SBET real quick for you, brother. SBET. Still don't see it. Sorry, man. We'll get it next time. See you guys. Yep. Listen to Wooly. Take profits. Make your plans. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe on your way out. Peace.